trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. The laws.
They are the laws that Norman Kinsey has tried to live his life by. Learned as a young Boy Scout.
1937, we went to the Boy Scout Jamboree in Washington and slept in tents in on the golf course. And Franklin Roosevelt came by and waved to us while we were all standing there in a group. Then the next year in Byrd High School, I walked one pace to Norman's left and one pace behind him for the entire school year. He was the company commander of C Company of Byrd High School ROTC, and I was the guidon bearer. I carried the little blue flag and stayed respectfully to his rear. Then after high school, we went off to college and to the war.
We looked out, and here were more and more ships, that the convoy was getting larger and larger. And by the time we came to North Africa, and we made this amphibious assault. There was a sea, a swell, and the boat broached and sank. And all the guys on our outfit had all this gear strapped to them, and 13 of them drowned. And the first thing I had to do was turn in 13 killed in action reports and write letters to their next of kin. At 21 years of age, having those responsibilities makes you grow up in a hurry.
After the war, Norman returned to LSU and received 2 degrees.
I received 2 degrees in one night. One was a Bachelor of Science in Commerce, and one was a Bachelor of Literature and Law.
Norman returned to Shreveport, where his father was developing the Carthage oil and gas field and building a refinery.
I received an interest in that gasoline plant from my father and mother, which was my first grub steak, if you will.
I call it gambling. They would get production, and they'd get a piece of the action, and then they would hawk it and put it in the next play, and the next play would do well. They would take that, bank it, put the money in another deal, and when that one prospered.
Kinsey's Grub Steak would eventually stretch around the country and the world. He would finance, build, and operate 5 major oil and gas pipelines. He developed a Shreveport subdivision and office park. He owns real estate across the country. And along the way, taught his sons about the business of business.
There are all kinds of little slings and arrows that one gets in that back and forth process. He never let things like that bother him. He focused on the goal. How do I achieve the goal? And do I have to have every nickel on the table? Or do I have to cut a corner somewhere to make this work? Or am I going to cut a corner on somebody else? Never, ever would he do that.
He never really followed the models that you would see in the textbook. His model was far more of a personal touch, and I think he was far more forgiving than a lot of other corporate people that you saw in that environment. He always let people have a second chance, some cases a third chance. That's probably why we're all still here. And he had basic faith in the individual.
He doesn't want to get it all for himself, but that it ought to be shared with those that help you do it. And I can name people on the fingers of my hands that have done extremely well in this world because of their relationship with Kinsey.
One thing that I'm particularly aware of that very, very few people are is what Norman has done to encourage capable young people to seek public office, and I'm talking particularly at the local level, the city council, the parish commission, the school board. And we all know it's getting increasingly difficult to get people to run for these jobs. But Norman encourages people to do that, and he supports them financially. And you can accept Norman's support, fully confident that he's not going to ask anything in return.
Here we have the entrance to the Grand Harbor of Malta, in a monastery in Majorca. This is one where we went to the North Pole.
He has a tremendous curiosity about all things: people, cultures, architecture.
This is part of the lake country in England.
What I've learned about Norman's life is that he chooses to live in Shreveport, and I'm really proud that he does. You know, he could live on a mountaintop in Colorado or on the south coast of France and still do what he does for a living and do it very well. He chooses to be here, and I think all of us in Shreveport really should be proud that he does.
I've known of more good things that Norman has done and good causes that he supported that very, very few people know about it. And I think that's what makes Norman different as a civic leader and a good citizen. It's his total modesty.
I've learned honesty, hard work, enjoy life.
A real sense of what is right and wrong and fair and proper, and that you always treat people in a straightforward fashion.
It is what he learned at Cresswell School in the midst of the Depression and later at Bird High. The laws Norman Kinsey patterned his extraordinary life around. First heard at a Boy Scout camp and forever remembered.
If you say, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight," says it all.